Good morning, everybody. Welcome. I think we'll just get started. There's a heap of people outside, but they'll work it out soon enough to come in just like you're all in here. So I just wanted to welcome you to the Retired Living Truth series, and today's topic, the truth about letting go, downsize or declutter. So I'm just curious before we get started, who has too much stuff at home by a show of hands? Okay. Who plans never to get rid of any of the stuff that they have at home? A few of you. So for those who don't plan on getting rid of any of the stuff, you could probably save yourself a whole lot of time, go have a nice breakfast across at the Atlantis Hotel and skip this morning. But I applaud you for being here to learn as to maybe we're just missing something about letting go of those cherished belongings. I know we all have too much stuff. We're all guilty of it, no matter what our age. Think back, if you had a child that was 5 or 6 years old, did they have too much stuff at one point and wouldn't let go? So it's just kind of inherent in us that we just don't like letting go of our stuff. So today we have two experts, and I'm excited, not only because it's Thursday and I get to be with you, but also because they're two of my team members that I'm going to get to ask questions of, and I'll have them come up and join me just shortly. But before we do that, I just had a couple of other questions. Who plans on living in their home forever, never moving? Good, excellent. And who plans on just letting all the stuff accumulate while they're living there forever? Yeah, good, at least you're being honest about it. Who plans on maybe downsizing in the next, say, 5 to 7 years? You're going to move to somewhere a bit smaller and more manageable. Oh, quite a few people. So that's probably why you're here, because you're probably realizing, especially if you're moving to something smaller, you're going to have to let some stuff go in order to move into a smaller place. Would that be correct? Yeah, I think so. And I'm sure there's a lot of us here in the room, by the first show of hands, that we just have too much stuff and we possibly need some help or some ideas as to how do we start letting go of stuff. Would that be correct? I see a lot of heads nodding. Yeah, it's hard letting go of our stuff. And Nat, my wife, is always challenging me to let go of certain things. But I'm very proud. I actually sold one of her old mountain bikes just a week ago. She goes, "Why aren't you selling your stuff?" It's like it's easier to get rid of your stuff than mine. So, yeah. I'm a work in progress. So I think I'll have my panelists come up and join me, and we'll get this started. Is there any housekeeping I missed, Kim and Ed? Phones. Now I mentioned for everyone to turn off their phones or put them on silent mode. I think I'll come up and join you here as well. And actually, while I'm walking up, just turn to your neighbour and just say to them, when you get home, I'm sure you're going to want to start downsizing. And I'll wait for you all to do that. Turn to your neighbour. Now swap, back the other way. So good, hopefully that's implanting a little embedded command that when you go home, you'll get rid of one thing. Could we all think of one thing we could let go of when we get home? Oh yeah, okay. I'm thinking no. But maybe think of it as we go along. Is there something we could perhaps let go and start the process of things that we don't need? So maybe if I could start with you, Annette, could you introduce yourself to the audience, a little bit about your background and why you're here today?
Sure, I'm Annette Janelle, and I have my master's in psychology. I have been a real estate agent for 24 years, and 14 of those years I have really focused on helping people downsize. The majority of our clients are ones that are looking to move to a smaller space and have a lot of belongings. When Brett and I came to Reno, has it been 9 years ago? We opened the Janelle Moves Made Easy and focusing on people's belongings because that is what held people up from making a move. So we opened the company and then along with our real estate company helped quite a few, and actually quite a few of you, make the move.
Thank you, Annette. Kim.
Hi, my name's Kim Brandt, and I work for Janelle's Moves Made Easy, and I've been there about 2 years, and prior to that, I was in environmental consulting. And actually what I transferred from my environmental consulting career was my project management skills, which really downsizing, decluttering is all about project management. So, and I've helped many of you, and I may help you in the future.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kim. And if you've worked with Kim, you know she's absolutely amazing. Get the door? I can do that. And while I'm getting the door, I have some statistics up here that we like to use. Yeah, I hear some laughs. The average household in America has 300,000 items. They're very noisy out there. There's a whole lot of people.
Exactly.
1 out of 10 Americans rents storage. Anyone here got storage that was willing to admit it? Yeah. Not a good thing, not a bad thing, but yeah, 1 in 10, it's a big business. And then Americans spend how much each year on stuff? $1.2 trillion. Yeah, we are just a nation of excess of just buying stuff, and I guess it gets easier and easier when you can just order it online and it shows up tomorrow, and it's like, did I really need that? Whereas I guess if we go back 20 years, you actually had to go to the store and find it and pick it up, so you had to think about it a little bit more. And one of our favourite images that we have, if you don't want to do anything about your stuff, as we talked about earlier, maybe we're just going to gift it and leave it for our children or whoever survives us to deal with. Anyone have a garage like that? A couple of people? Actually, I'm amazed when we drive neighbourhoods and you look at people with their garage doors open and they can't get a car in. Or it's a 3-car garage and maybe they can get 1 car in because it's just full of stuff that they probably haven't touched in a long, long time. So let's jump back to our first question that I have for you, Kim, is what's the difference or the mindset difference between downsizing and decluttering? How are they different from a mindset perspective?
They are. They're significantly different, actually. They go hand in hand, but there are differences. In decluttering, you're looking for mental and physical and emotional clarity within your current space. You're looking for prioritizing the items that you have and letting go of some of those attachments, but making your current space more efficient, more functional. When you're talking about downsizing, you're often going from, let's just say, your 2,100 square foot home to your new 700 square foot apartment. Now you're having to leave behind 2/3 of your belongings. So you're taking a completely significant lifestyle change. This is not just I'm moving across the street. This is my lifestyle is changing. Now you're focusing on the essentials. Your items need to be multifunctional. You need to really pare down what you're going to take because likely your apartment does not have a garage. So you're just completely eliminating that garage. So think about that in terms of like your 2 different ways. Many of you said you're going to stay in your home. How can you make it more functional, more efficient? If you're going to be leaving, maybe you should start thinking about some of those decluttering. And when you do downsize, you will do decluttering.
Thank you, Kim. So just to add on to that, for those people who said they are going to downsize maybe in the next 5 to 7 years, how much did you say from your experience that people are going to get rid of, that are not taking with them? Just one more time so that sinks in.
At least 2/3 of your items. I've had people go from a 3,000 square foot home to an 1,100 square foot apartment. I've had people go from a 3,000 square foot home to 450 square foot studio. Yeah, and it's significant. And I really do say that, like, when you're going to a smaller place, again, you don't have the garages. You don't have the storage areas. You don't have closets. You don't have shelving or the little places to put stuff. So it really becomes what is absolutely essential.
Thank you, Kim. Annette, did you have anything you wanted to add before I ask you the next question? So Annette, what are some of the reasons why people struggle to let go of the items that they perhaps no longer need?
I actually talked about this previously on the psychology of letting go. It really helps to start with why are we keeping all of these items? And we're not talking about the items that you need and are using on an everyday basis. It's those items that are non-essentials. One of the first ones is emotion. Somebody gave you, or it has some sentimental value to you. So it's either something that was inherited or it's something that somebody gave to you. I actually had a gift. Is this okay? I feel like I'm echoing a little bit. I'm okay? Okay, good. I had a gift that was given to me. It was a picture with my name on it, and it was very ugly. I did not like it at all. But it was given to me, and I felt the sentimental value of it, and I kept that picture for 10 years. because of the fact of who gave it to me. And I've actually met other people that have gone through the same process. They wanted whoever was the giver to actually see that they had it in their home, even though they didn't like it. Can any of you relate to that? Anybody? Yeah, I mean, you don't want to insult the person that gave it to you. So the sentimental value of it, and then utility. Actually, men have the biggest issue with this, and it could be useful someday. I got to keep it. Brett was talking about that recently. He got a new cord for his desk, and the old cord, why throw it away? He put it in a bin so that he could keep it. It was up in the attic, so you never know. Sometime at a later time, you could use it again. He was talking earlier about us going through our belongings and figuring out what needs to go. It is much easier to pick out your spouse's belongings that need to go than your own belongings. He pointed out he sold my bike, not his bike. Financial. If you've made a big financial investment in something, about 10 years ago, I had a lady that she had bought it was a desk that she'd had for many years. A big ornate desk, really heavy, solid wood. Well, you can't get those anymore. And 10 years ago, she had it appraised, and it was appraised for $10,000. Now, she should have sold it 10 years ago to whoever appraised it for $10,000, because is there a market for big ornate desks, really heavy? Anybody? Anyone? No. So, exactly. So what was valuable then is not necessarily valuable now. And sometimes it's very hard for people to let go of these items. Brett and I, we had a custom-made bed made for us, and it no longer suits us. It was only a few years ago, but we spent a pretty penny on it. We're willing to sell it for a lot less than we paid for it, but nobody's biting. So at this point, we're like, well, then we'll just keep it. We're going to add it to our list of things that we've got. We're all guilty of it. So it really, does it suit you now? Do you see utility for it later? And if so, when? So, and that actually goes into identity and image. I had a gentleman, he could no longer drive. He was actually he had a full-time caregiver, yet in his garage he had his sports car, and he was not letting go. That was part of his identity and his image. In fact, he forbade his wife to sell the car. She wanted to get rid of the car because, again, it's easier to get rid of your spouse's things. But also, it did not serve a purpose. It took up a lot of space. It wasn't until he passed away that she was finally able to sell the car. In fact, our neighbor, it was the exact same thing. He had this gigantic boat in the garage. I mean, it was on a trailer. It was huge. They had to park it sideways just to fit into the 3-car garage. She couldn't fit her own vehicle in it because of all of his belongings. He would not sell that boat, and not until he passed away was she able to finally sell the boat and fit her car into the garage. Estate. So leaving a legacy. How many of you have things that you've got that you would like to pass on to family members? Yeah. Have you by chance asked them if they want those items that you're hanging on to? Okay, I see a few head nods. That's good.
I'm just wondering why everyone's laughing.
So it is, yeah, so many times people have held on to things thinking they're going to give it to family members or friends, and then the family doesn't want it. So it's key to ask if they want it, and then also find out, because there's no point in you keeping it if they don't want it, and if they don't want it, don't take offense to it. Everybody has different ideas, and times, like that big ornate desk, that used to be in fashion. At one point, somebody would have loved to have gotten that as a gift. to inherited that, but now it'd just be a burden. So times have changed, and to just recognize that and give your family grace that does not want your belongings. Wedding dresses. Anybody pass on a wedding dress? Hang on to that? Yep, pass it.
Anyone still have their wedding dress?
Yeah, some people, yeah. My mother has 3 sisters, so there's 4 of them. My aunt actually bought her wedding dress before she even had a boyfriend. I would think that would be very uncomfortable, but that wedding dress, not only did my aunt wear it, but all the sisters wore it. Everybody, my mother still has that wedding dress. She pulled it out and tried it on. She kind of fits in it. Not quite as well as she did when she was in her 20s, but I'm not actually sure why they hung on to this wedding dress, because none of us would wear this wedding dress. Well, first of all, I don't know if any of you have seen my mother, but she's very petite, so the rest of us are quite a bit larger than she is. We would never be able to fit into that dress. So wedding rings, passing down wedding rings, those actually have value. So my sister, her wedding ring happens to be a family heirloom on her husband's side of the family. Again, it could just be the stone, and then they reset it into something that would be more liking to the person that's getting it. But really pay attention to what you're hanging on to, and then maybe looking at letting it go.
Yeah, letting them enjoy it now, perhaps.
Exactly. Actually, that's one of the things my mother always said, is that she would rather give things to us now so she can see that we're using it and enjoying it than waiting until she's gone and knows nothing about it. So think of it that's the same way. I think it's quite the gift to be able to give to those that are here now and be able to share that with them.
Actually, can we hold questions and comments just till we get to Q&A, just so we can make sure we get through? Yeah, keep writing them down. That's why we have a sheet of paper there. Write your questions down, and we will get to them, if you don't mind. I'm just curious, who was here like 2 years ago when we did the seminar, or Annette did, on the psychology of money? Oh, I thought there'd be more people. So we recorded it, and it's a whole hour just talking about what Annette just covered in about 5 minutes. So it's on the Retired Living True series. If you go to past events, I'd highly recommend that if you're struggling letting go, and it's been an hour about the whole how to get yourself to a point where you can start letting go. And we just don't have time to cover that today, but it's one of the recordings if you'd like to go back. So Kim, my question to you is, why might it be important to consider starting now versus at some point in the future?
Today, time is your friend. You feel great, right? You're here. You all made it here. You have motivation, you have energy, you have stamina. Today you can do this. You do not know what the future is going to hold. There could be a situation that unfortunately now you're either not capable of doing your downsizing, or you're actually being forced to your decluttering, or you're being forced to do your downsizing. So there's no time like the present. So start, and it doesn't mean start big. You can start little, but just start. And then by delaying, what are you just delaying to? I just don't want to do it? Okay, I get that. I don't want to do it either. But then when are you going to want to do it? So there really has to be a little bit of like self-motivation to do it. And if you're struggling, call me. I can help you. I can at least help you get started. So there are things that you can do just right now to get going. And in terms of today too, you have choices with how things are going to be redistributed. Do you have a choice to give it to your family, to a dear friend, to people who have helped you throughout the years? Do you have a favorite donation organization that you want to support? I had a client who was very into her pets. And she had a lot of pet items. She was absolutely determined to donate as much as she could to the SPCA thrift store over there so that she could help future pets. So use that to your advantage. You have a lot of tools, a ton of tools, more tools than you could use. Where can you donate that? Habitat for Humanity. Help people build houses for other people. So your donations are not just you letting go of that, but your donations are helping others. And doesn't it really feel great to help others? I mean, we have all been so blessed with so much stuff. So let's share and help others. Am I wrong? The other thing is you can sell it. Some of you have some very valuable collections or coin collections. I don't know, fancy sports cars that you're not driving anymore. But you could sell those items, which you can either sell them for a little bit, maybe just a few $100s, that's fine. Put it towards your vacation fund. Or maybe you have a fancy sports car that you're not driving anymore. You don't want to spend the insurance on it. And now you can actually put that as part of your investment portfolio. So there's many options, but today you have choices. When you get to a situation, and not to say that all of you are, but you may encounter a situation where you don't have a choice. We were working with a client who has a 300 square foot house. We started working with her about a year, actually the couple.
3,000, you said 300.
Oh, 3,000 square feet. Yeah, it was her tiny house. No.
Got everyone's attention.
Yeah, they were like, what?
People are
3,000
paying
square
attention.
foot house. It was a husband and wife. We started with her about a year and a half ago. It was a great track because we had a time. They hadn't decided exactly where they were going, but she knew she needed to downsize. She was a huge crafter. Oh my goodness, rooms of crafting items, 4 sewing machines, everything that you could imagine. If you're a crafter, I'm not a crafter, but everything you could imagine. If you're a crafter, she had it. Unfortunately, her husband's health declined. She became more of a caregiver and was not able at that time to spend time on the decluttering and donating. We finally moved them because she was unable to care for him in the current home. We did move them to an apartment in a community. And she thought, well, that's okay. I still have all my stuff at the house, and I'll just go back. When we get settled, I'll just go back every day, and I'll do a little bit. Well, her husband's health continued to decline. She became much more of a daily caregiver now. The house sat for, I want to say, 3 months. He passed away. Now she's going through the grieving process, and walking back into that house was so hard for her. We finally did it 6 months later after he passed away. And what we wound up doing was packing up almost the entire house and putting it in storage because she is just not ready to deal with it. But this is an 18-month struggle, and she's now paying $172 a month to store the house. So if not now, when? And her situation didn't necessarily get better. I don't mean to be depressing here. You guys just all got silent and quiet and sad.
So Kim, in all honesty, do you think she'll ever go back to that storage and go through it?
She might pull out a few items.
What are the odds of that happening based on our experience with people who have
Based
storage?
on our experience, when was the last time you were back at your storage units? Once, twice in a year. And then it's just it's costing her money. So just let it go. Let it go. It's hard. It's hard, but you need to let go. It's just stuff.
I also want to bring up that it is really, when you're at a point now, as far as the decluttering, I want to reiterate what Kim said as far as being able to choose where those items go, because now you have the time to do that. When you bring in professionals to come and help you, and things have to happen quickly because you got to do it downsize, the items that you want to have designated going to certain areas, it's not going to happen. It is going to be happening fast, where they come in and take things away, and they'll do donations, but it may not be to the donation place that you want it to go to. So if it's really important to you where your belongings go, then now is the time to do it because you have control over it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Kim, help me. As a guy, my fellow guys here, okay, we need to get started. Where do I start? We've got this house full of stuff.
So we start small, 1%, 30 minutes a day, maybe 60 if you're like feeling really motivated that day. Go to a drawer in the kitchen. Go to somewhere that's not emotionally charged for you.
So I was asking first as help with me
Oh,
as a
for
guy.
guys.
So I go to my wife's drawer and start tossing.
His
Easy.
computer cable collection.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, not specific to you, Brett. Is that what, okay. Yeah, so for guys, oftentimes it's the computers, it's the cameras. My husband has camera pieces from cameras that we no longer own. We have tools that we will never have. We have camping gear that we will likely not ever use again because I refuse to sleep on the ground now. There are many things that guys have that they just think that someday I'm going to use it. I walked into another house 4 weeks ago, and I started looking around because I wanted to know what we were going to take, what we are not going to take. I opened drawers, not one drawer, not two drawers, not three drawers, 4 drawers. We have screws, we have nuts, we have bolts, we have everything in those little baby food jars. Oh my goodness, I'm thinking, holy cow, when are you even going to look for the one screw that's going to fit that thing? We're not doing that anymore, right? Home Depot carries that stuff, by the way. Did you guys know that? So we don't need to collect that. We don't need to keep that. We don't need to hang on to that. So go through it. Maybe you need 2 jars. That's fine. But probably not 4 drawers worth of jars.
Okay, now let's take the pressure off us guys and put it on the ladies.
On the ladies.
Where do we start?
You're gonna hate me for saying this. It's your closets. Am I wrong? No. So we all have clothes that someday I'm gonna get back into that pair of pants. I just know it. I even have a pair of pants like that. Yeah, I can't get them up over my thighs. I don't know why I keep them. We have a lot of clothes that we don't think we could ever get rid of because someday I'm going to wear that again. Someday I'm going to wear that pair of shoes again. Someday I'm going to go skiing, probably not. So we need to start downsizing our closets. The best way to start downsizing your closets, I'm sure you have all heard this trick, is you take all of your clothes, you turn the hangers backwards, okay? And then when you wear that piece of clothing again, when you rehang it, you put it on front ways. At the end of 1 year, you look at everything that you did not turn frontwards. You're probably not going to wear that the next year. That's a great way. It's easy. It helped you declutter without you actually having to make the decisions. The decisions you were making were all along, but now you can donate those. Again, people need clothes. So if you're not going to wear it, please help somebody else so that they have stuff.
I did some research on that, Kim. Guess what percentage of our closet we actually use? What percentage of clothes that we wear? 10? My research came up with around 20 to 30. Yeah, so somewhere between 70 to 80%, 2/3 of our clothes we don't wear, and that was like in a 3-year period. And I think about it, it's like, yeah, I can think of all the things Annette hasn't worn. No, I can think of all the things I haven't worn. So yeah, I love that tip, Kim. So yeah, that's a good one to write down. Reverse everything and
reverse everything. Yeah.
So how do we go about getting rid of stuff? Did you have any other tips as far as where to start before we talk about where to get rid of it?
No, just when you start, be intentional about it. Don't let yourself get distracted and go off for 3 months and do something else. If you can stay with it, 1% plus 1%, you do that 100 times, you get 100% of the work done. Maybe it's 100 hours, but it's 100 hours over a year. And that's really just a very minuscule part of your year. So, I mean, take the time. And really, I think you can be decluttering every day. I mean, with little things, get the mail. And when you get the mail, you go through it, you recycle the stuff that you don't want, you file the stuff that you have. You get an Amazon box, you put the items away, you break down the box, and you put it in the recycling bin. Don't let it just sit on the counters. That's where then you walk in and you just don't know where to begin. Begin every day.
I also think a good point is to know yourself. Not everybody is self-motivated to just start and keep doing it. And I love the fact, just do a little bit, give yourself grace. But sometimes it's helpful to either have an accountability partner, have a friend that's also looking to declutter, celebrate your successes, let each other know what you've been working on, because let's face it, it's not really a cocktail hour where you're talking about, I just decluttered a drawer. And it's not really exciting, but if you have an accountability partner to talk about, then you can celebrate your successes that way. And then if you don't have an accountability partner, there are professionals that you can pay to come in, and then you'll probably be really motivated because you don't want to pay them. So you want the time to be as short as possible. But either way, just know yourself, know what you need, and if you are one of those people that's really self-motivated, all you need to do is have you're task-oriented, great. But if not, find the resources that will help you. Accountability partner, or pay somebody to come in and help you.
Great, thanks Annette. So Kim, let's talk about disposition, getting rid of the things that we've decided we no longer need. What are some options? And I think we have a slide here that we're going to run through.
I think we have a slide.
Yeah.
So I can't see the slide. So
first one is gift.
So there are two ways we can do it. You can do it yourself. And there's nothing wrong with that. And sometimes it actually feels good to do it yourself. The other way is through a professional organizer or professional companies that will help you redistribute your items. So let's just talk first about the doing it yourself, the gifting. And Annette talked about this a little bit earlier, is ask your friends or your family what they would like. And when you pass it to them now, you get to enjoy them enjoying the item. You also get to enjoy telling the story that goes with that item. Where that was acquired, what trip they took, and what they experienced when they were on that trip. So that is a great way to share your history, your legacy with friends and family. My grandmother had some beautiful silver bowls that she gave me for several of my birthdays and for my wedding. I still have those bowls, but what she did is she wrote a note with each of those gifts, and what's really special to me is the note, because it's in my grandmother's handwriting. My grandmother passed away, 30 years ago, but that's the piece of her that I still have. So think about that. I think the other item, the next item on here is documents. Not quite as sexy, I'm sorry. Nobody likes paperwork. But you are pretty much the only person that can go through your paperwork. Many of the documents you don't have to keep anymore. I think if you flip to the very back of your handout today, the white sheets, there's a list of documents that you don't have to keep. Many documents now are online. Your bank statements are online. Your bills are online. You can download your insurance documents online, save them to file folders. You don't need to print everything, and you don't need to keep everything. So start going through that now, because as I mentioned, you're pretty much the only one who knows how important those things are for your daily living. Somebody like myself, I don't know. I don't know you well enough to be able to do it. Your family may not really know all of the things that are going on in your life, so helping you with that might be difficult. For things that need to be shredded, should be shredded, absolutely need to be shredded. 3 pieces of information are on that piece of paper, and that's your name, your birth date, and your social security number. Shred those. For your name and your address, it's out there. Google yourself sometime. You'll be amazed what you find out about yourself. If it just, has a phone number, your name and phone number, throw it away. Just throw that stuff away. Don't shred it. It's not worth your time to sit at the shredder as well. And then for shredding documents, I think the second half of that page is companies that do shredding here in the greater area. It'll cost a little bit of money, but you have to remember too that your time is valuable. So I have had clients that have literally just sat at the shredding machine, and I'm thinking we have so much more to work on. So think about your time and where you want to spend your time. Photo albums, I think is the next item on there. Your generation didn't have the luxury of digital photos until just recently, right? So we all have photographs, photo albums, slides. How many people still have slides and a slide projector? Okay, when was the last time you pulled out your slides and your slide projector and did a little show?
I don't see any hands.
Yeah, no hands. So that kind of tells you where you are with your slides, and that probably those things could go away. If you have family...
I want to interject really quick. With slides, like my dad had all his slides from Vietnam, and so because that's what he loved to do, is take pictures during that time. So we just scan them in. So we still have the pictures. We don't have the slides anymore. So you can still keep that, but you can scan it in.
Photo albums, pick out the few that of the 200 photographs, try and pick out 20 that might be in that one album. You can always digitize them. I know that I ask my mom, what do you want for Christmas or your birthday? And she's like, I need absolutely nothing. Well, a great gift would actually be for me to go through some of her photo albums, scan them, and put them on a digital photo album, one of those frame photo albums. Ask your family for that. That's, then you get to actually see them, see the photographs.
That's great delegation, Kim, putting the family to work to digitize.
The family to work. You should you raised them, you should put them to work now. So the other way, jump in if you like, sorry. So if we have items that, as I mentioned, for sale, you can do a lot of ways to sell items. You can have a garage sale. How many here have had a garage sale in the past? How many people have had a garage sale in the last 2 years? Oh, a few. Okay. So you know that it's a little bit of work, right? You need to go through your house, you need to organize it, but the best thing about it is you didn't leave your house, okay? You didn't have to, they came to you, which is great. When I do my garage sales at the last hour, I'm like giving it away, because really my goal is I just do not want to put this back, so you can take it. Did I get rich off of it? No. Did it buy me dinner that night? Maybe. But the goal is, again, to get rid of your items, not to get rich. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme.
And again, it's one of those things that's very time-consuming.
Yes,
so
it
it's
is.
a lot of time, and it can be labor-intensive, too. So you got to be physically able to do it. Mm-hmm. One of the things that my mother did was she enlisted her grandchildren and said, I've got these items that need to be sold. You can do the garage sale, or you can sell it online, and you can keep the money. So my mother's all about delegating to the rest of the family to take care of it. Yeah.
And the grandkids were happy to oblige, weren't they? Made a few dollars and spent the
They
time.
were, although I think my mother ended up doing a little bit more work than she was planning on. But yes, getting the grandkids involved, and it was an activity to do together. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, Frank, if you can hold off to just the questions.
Frank was a good buyer of my mom's belongings.
We also have now online marketplaces. So you have Facebook Marketplace, you have Craigslist, eBay, FreeCycle, OfferUp.
Sorry, keep going, Kim. We have a
Okay,
slide with all
sorry.
of them there.
These are great places to be able to sell your items, but they are, again, as Annette mentioned, they're time intensive. You take your pictures, you price your item, you write a little description about them. Now you need to field the interested buyers who are just like, do you still have this? Where is it located? Does it have any damage? So now you're responding to them. But now you have a buyer who is potentially interested, so you've set up a time or a meeting place to meet with them to sell the item. Gosh, you are just hoping that they show up. How many times have we been stood up? I was stood up a number of times. Okay, and now I haven't sold it, so what do I have to do? Start over. Now I'm putting it back up. There's items still available. So this is, again, time intensive. If you have the time is now. Then you have the time to use those services to be able to sell some items.
And if you do this, you can potentially get a higher price for it, because if you later on, if it's sold, like if you're downsizing and professionals come in and sell it, they're going to take a cut from it. So you going through the time to do this, if you have the time and are able to do it, you will get a higher price for it.
And then finally, we have donations. On your second page of your handout, there's a list of donation items. Or donation places. There are a few of those places that will come and pick up. That you need to schedule them. Generally, they're about 3 to 4 weeks out right now. So that's a way to do it. But prior to donating, I suggest that you call wherever you would like to donate, find out if they are accepting donations, find out if they are not accepting some items, and find out their donation hours, because they don't accept it just when they're open. And make sure. And then what I do is I put a box by the door or in my car, and for all my donation items, I place it right in the box. So the next time I'm going out and about, I put the box in my car, or the box is already in my car. I drive to my donation place, drop it off, one box out of the way. So it's a way to just keep it ongoing. I was going to go out anyway. I'm getting rid of those items anyway. So let's just keep it moving. And it's pretty low investment. Okay, now we go to the right side. This is the money side. So we have professional downsizing. Estate sales are done after you are run, after you have left your home. Okay, so it requires you to move. People don't do estate sales when you are living in your home. There are not a lot of estate sale people in the area. I think part of that is that the market for items has just really diminished, and they're just not making it's a business for them. They're looking to make a profit. So it's not as profitable for them now.
Why is that, Kim? Why is it not as profitable?
There's just not a market for a lot of the items that we have.
So there aren't buyers. People aren't buying the stuff like they used to?
Right. And they will charge a base fee. The base fee, in my experience with the couple that I've used, ranges between $1,500 and about $5,000. That's what they're going to take. They need to be able to make that based on your items that they see in your house. And part of that will depend on how neat and organized your house already is versus if it's very messy or dirty and they have to clean the items prior, the base price goes up. They'll put out all the items, they will organize it, they will price it. They will price it so that they are going to try and make some money. And then for anything that's above that base price, they're going to split that profit with you. Maybe a 50-50 split, maybe a 60-40 split. That is very dependent on the estate liquidator. You will sign a contract with them It is very much a business negotiation. However, they don't even sell everything. So the purpose of having the estate sale is to clear the home. And at the end of the day, when there are still belongings left behind, now we're just moving them. So oftentimes we're either doing donations, either you're coming back and doing donations, or we're hiring a junk company to come and just remove the items. The cost for junk companies.
Can I back up a little
Yeah.
bit? We say junk companies, a lot of the companies they're not looking to fill up the landfill. So they will take the items and they're donating as well. So it's not, they call themselves junk companies, but you might want to, if you hire any of them, ask them where they're taking the items, because it is not automatically going to landfill. Because I know that's a big concern for people. I don't want to be filling up the landfill. So when we say junk, because oftentimes that's what, oh my gosh, my stuff is junk and now it's going to be filling up landfill. Be very clear about that.
Right.
No.
Yeah, many of them do donate. I was getting to that, but many of them do try and donate as much as they can. But there is a fee for that. There is a fee for the removal of the items from the home and the either them running them to donation organizations or disposing of them. For consignment stores, we have a number of consignment stores in the area, which is great, but they are getting pickier about what they are taking. I had a client who had about 16 items that she had taken pictures of them, taken it to the consignment store, and they said, great, we're interested in your items. And so she was so excited because she thought she was going to eliminate 16 items on the day they came. The day they came was about 3 to 4 weeks out. And when they came, they reviewed all of the items. So just interest does not mean they're taking. They reviewed all of the items. They took 4 of the 16. So they're getting pickier because their clientele is getting pickier because they are overflowing with items in their stores. So they know what's going to sell and they know what's not going to sell. For consignment stores, the consignment stores will set the price. You will not have a say in that. They will reduce the price every month because their intent is to sell it. They will, at the end of the 3 months, they will either call you and say you can come and get it and try and sell it on your own, or they're going to slash the price just to move it, or they're going to donate it. And then you split the profit with the consignment store 50-50.
Oh, I want to just kind of contrast estate sales with consignment. An estate sale could be 1 day, 2 days. You're hoping for the right person to walk through the door during that short window of time to buy your belongings. The nice thing about consignment, it's just a 3-month period. You're more likely to get somebody to come through. So if they're higher priced items, consignment is a great way to go, especially if you're looking to declutter. When you're looking to downsize, estate sale is a great way to go because that money will help pay for the money that you get from the estate sale will help pay for those items that do not sell that need to clear out. So if you go through your home and you take all the higher priced items and send them to consignment and all you've got left is what is left in the house, you're going to be paying a higher price in order to clear out the home. We had one home, it was over on Zalesi actually. They needed, 7 40-yard dumpsters to clear out the house. And they still did an estate sale there and made $25,000. Just to give you an idea of how much belongings were in that house. But so much of it, 7 40-yard dumpsters, the labor just to fill up those dumpsters, it's not just the cost of the dumpsters themselves, but it's the labor to clear everything out.
And then we have buyouts. So the buyouts, you could have an organization who comes in, looks at your items and gives you a price to take the items that they want It's not everything. And they will just pay you right then and there, write you a check, and take your items away. So that's another option. I've only, in the 2 years that I've been doing this, I've only had that happen twice. There's very few people that will just come and do a buyout. So that's another option. But again, then we had to pay money to have the rest of the items cleared out of the home. And then the final item, and we've alluded to this, Annette spoke to this, is trash. For the items that do need to, need to be removed from the home, we're hiring somebody often, and the cost of that is $750 for an enclosed 14 cubic yard box truck and 2 guys. They can typically clear a home in about 3 to 5 hours. It's pretty quick. They're really good at it. A dumpster, if you wanted to do it yourself, a dumpster, let's see, the 14 cubic yard dumpster is $675. You get it for a week. And then if you need to keep it beyond that, the price goes up a little bit after that. But you're the labor, or you're hiring the kids down the street to come and remove some stuff.
Thank you, Kim. So that's our decluttering strategies. But what are some of the benefits, Annette? Kim talked about starting now, but what are some of the benefits? What's at the end of this by starting now?
Well, let me just back up. A lot of times when we work with people, it's because they're downsizing, and downsizing is when you have to do it now because you're moving somewhere else. Decluttering is much like what Kim was saying. You can take your time. What we see is people getting angry with their loved ones, the people that are there helping them, trying to, hey, we got to go through this, because you end up with decision fatigue. When you don't declutter, if you go through the process and you've been decluttering, you're able to make decisions slowly. You can take your time, and hey, half an hour here, an hour there. When you're looking to downsize, you need to make decisions quickly, and it's not just decisions about what you're going to take with you and what's staying behind. It is what is going to happen with those items. It's where I'm moving to. I mean, there's so many decisions. Have any of you heard of decision fatigue? Yeah, you get tired of making decisions and you're like, forget it. I don't want to, you just shut down and I'm not going to do it anymore. You get angry with the people that are trying to help you, and usually those are the ones closest to you, your loved ones, so then it adds friction to your own relationship with your family. This is not a good place to be. The more decisions you've made ahead of time before this, the easier it's going to be later on. So, and quite frankly, it allows you to grieve, because when you are letting go of some things, that can be a sad time. It can also be a liberating time. It can be like, oh my gosh, I'm letting go. Look how much space I've got. I'm moving on. I'm saying hello to my new, what I'm involved in now versus all my past that I have to remind myself that I'm no longer snowboarding or skiing, or, because you see that all the time. Whatever those things that are just hanging around or taking up space, boxes that are filled up that you haven't looked at in years. I've met people, well actually we've moved people, that we moved them once and then years later they want to move again and they still haven't unpacked the boxes from their first move. Can anybody relate to that? Yeah, I mean, what's in the boxes? I mean, again, that's taking up space, and it's just the thought process. It takes up time and clutter in your own head. It's like, oh, I got to do that. So then you're beating yourself up about the fact that you haven't gone through those items and you haven't taken care of it. And every time you walk by it, so sometimes we've had people, they just close off a room. They don't even go in the room anymore. So it is by decluttering, you are taking control. You are able to take your time. You can decide where your things are going to go. It is much smoother and easier than waiting until you are downsizing and figure, okay, the family's going to take care of it. because you may not be happy with the decisions that other people make for you because it needs to happen quickly.
Thank you, Annette. And sometimes it actually feels good when you get rid of some clutter. It's like, oh, like a weight
It can be
lifted.
liberating.
Liberating.
And in fact, it's interesting. I've often had people say, I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I feel so much better. And then you can focus on those things that you really want to be doing rather than going through your belongings. Kim brought up the client we had that for 18 months it took her to go through. I would call her up and she would be, yep, at 9 a.m. she's over at the house going through belongings because she was not happy. I'd much rather be doing something else. Wouldn't you rather be doing something else than going through the past? Let's move forward.
So Kim, let's talk about some downsizing strategies just to help people who are thinking of downsizing at some point. What are the ones that we had put down? I think we had a slide, yeah.
So for downsizing, downsizing should be a planned event, right? You're looking to make a lifestyle change, whether that's you're going to sell the house, you're going to buy the motorhome, and you're going to travel the country. It's a planned event, and that's what you want to do. Same with if you're going to sell your home and you're going to move to a smaller home, whether that be just a condo so you don't have yard maintenance, or it's a community. Those are planned events. Where do you want to go? What do you expect your life to look like in 2, 3, 7 years? So this gives you time to start planning for the downsizing. And there are lots of things that you do need to take into consideration for downsizing. And the October seminar is all about downsizing, right?
Correct.
And as you know that Brett and Annette also set up community tours so you can see what's out there and what options are out there. Every one of the communities are different. They all have something to offer for everybody. But there's also just different smaller homes. Annette can show you smaller homes. But these are things that you should start thinking about now. And if you do want to stay in your house, I saw many of you say, I'm never leaving my house. My father-in-law is like that. We're going to take him out feet first. Is that you should start making your house more efficient, more capable for your future. Perhaps right now you're walking, but perhaps in a year or 2 or 5, you're going to need a walker or a wheelchair. So start thinking about some of those events. I pray that you don't, but it happens. So start planning now is going to help you with the decision fatigue, with the feeling of being overwhelmed. And you're going to be able to enjoy and focus on the things you have now, today.
Great, thank you, Kim. So, oh yeah, we just had a list there of things to remember. I'm going to kind of skip over that, but basically it takes time. We've accumulated stuff over our lifetime. We're not going to be able to declutter, in a day or two. It's going to take time and give ourselves grace.
I really just like this cartoon. Does anybody have a closet like that? It's like, oh my gosh, let's close this up. No need to go in there. And we often, if you've lived in your home 40 years, that's 40 years of accumulation. If you're somebody that's moved a lot, you're naturally going to be downsizing or decluttering as you move from place to place, even if you're moving up to a larger home or just staying the same. Because you're not going to, unless I've had people where the movers move them across country and they even pack up the garbage. But most of the time, that doesn't happen, where you actually kind of thin things out instead.
Thank you, Annette. So, wanted to talk about ambassadors before we go to question and answers.
Yes. How many of you enjoy these events? Oh, there's a lot of you. That's fantastic. And we love putting them on. We love having you here. We also need help. And we do have ambassadors now that have been coming to our events for quite some time.
Do we have our ambassadors in the room, Sam? If you just raise your hand.
Yep.
Yeah, can we give them a round of applause? They're helping us every month after month.
We love the fact that we have our ambassadors, and we are looking for more ambassadors. So if you have any interest in participating and helping us. Basically, the job is to help with name tags, to help greet people, to help people, to show them where the bathrooms are. I want everybody to feel welcome. We all want you to feel welcome here and to see a friendly face. And it's who better to have a friendly face than somebody that's been coming and attending our seminars and enjoys it. So if you have any interest in learning more about being an ambassador, just check it off on your yellow sheet and we will reach out to you.
Great, thank you, Annette. Annette's going to tell us a little bit about the October seminar.
Yeah, so next month obviously is the sex, love, and shacking up that Brett was talking about. But the month after that, we are going to be talking about downsizing. And it's downsizing just the process. If you've actually decided, hey, I do want to make a move, but I'm overwhelmed and I don't know how this whole process works. I just want to find out more. That's when we're going to be talking about what is involved in actually moving from your current residence somewhere else, and all the steps, because sometimes when you know what's going to happen, it reduces the overwhelm and you're like, oh, okay, that's how it's going to work, and it makes it a lot more feasible instead of just being overwhelmed and not knowing what's going to happen.
Great, thanks, Annette. Melissa, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Melissa, Schultz Law Group. We cover a whole gamut of elder law, including but not limited to trusts, wills, powers of attorney, guardianships, Medicaid planning, and probates.
Fantastic. And Melissa's going to cover my left side of the room, or the right looking at the stage. And Susie.
With Somerset Senior Living, independent, assisted, a new service, adaptive care, which is one step below skilled nursing, and memory care. We're in the northwest part of town, off of I-80 and Robb Drive. We'd love to see you.
Thank you, Susie. You have a wonderful community. So Susie's going to cover my right side of the room, or the left looking at the stage. And so, yeah, who has questions of our panelists? Who would like to start? Just down here at the front.
I'd like to know...
One second, let's get the microphone. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to know where you donate electronics.
Do we have any suggestions of where to donate electronics?
Yeah, most electronics, depending on the size, can be donated. You can take them to Best Buy. Call Best Buy, make sure that they're still accepting them. They'll take small electronics. Larger electronics, those are a bit harder. You can recycle them through the waste management. That's about it for electronics. Do you have, oh, sorry.
I have another resource.
Oh, awesome.
One sec, we'll get a microphone so you can just share that with everyone.
Oh, thank you. Hi. Oh, they closed? When did they close? Oh, wow.
Okay, not so new at all, they're closed. Okay. Next question over here. And then
I have something on that as well. New to You Computers did close, but there is still a resource in Carson City called Computer Core, and they accept donations during open hours.
Thank you. One more time,
Computer Core.
Core, like C-O-R-E?
C-O-R-P-S.
Oh, corpse, computer corpse.
Yeah.
For anyone who wants to write that down. Thank you so much. Up the back.
I have many items that I would like to sell online, Etsy, whatever, but I don't want to deal with packing things up and taking them to the post office. And I have heard that there are people that you can hire for commission on the sale to help you to do that for you. Do you have any information regarding that?
I've definitely heard that. I just don't know who does it. And
I
have
don't
a
know
few
who
things
does
to
it.
add.
I apologize. I can find out. Do you have a source for that? No?
I would just suggest make sure you vet whoever, that it's not a scam or anything as far as who's going to do it for you. Just be careful. So many scams out there at the moment. This side, and then we'll come over here. Where are we with this microphone, Susie? Oh, okay, let's jump to this side.
Hi. You can also donate electronics to New to You.
It's a store on, I believe, Gregg Street.
Thank you, yes. As Kim pointed out, it's changing all the time, so please call before you go to donate or think to take somewhere, because, yeah, it continually changes all the time. Question down at the front.
It's not a question, but I've seen the different places you can donate your clothes, and Good Shepherd Clothes Closet is the place to go because they don't sell their clothes. They set it all up as if you're going into a store, and but they give the clothes away. So that's so much nicer than, some Goodwill or whatnot that they don't, but you don't have to pay for them. And they take care of children, and they just do a wonderful job.
Thank you for sharing that. So, Good Shepherd. And just know, too, that these places are inundated with items. So it is worth calling around and just asking them, because we went and volunteered recently at the Epilepsy Foundation of Northern Nevada over in Sparks, and I was out the back helping, part of the group that was sorting through the clothes, and it was just huge, bags and bags and boxes. It was just overwhelming. And unless things were really good quality, we were just told to put it in the trash pile. If it had a mark or a stain or a tear or didn't look new, just to discard it, because they just had more there than they could ever get out to the community to help. Yeah. Yes.
I have a couple questions, but the first one is, do you have any names of consignment stores or buyouts? I know there's not a ton, but do you have referrals?
There's consignment stores. Consigned furniture takes furniture, art, rugs. That's pretty much all they take. And then you have Stellar Consignment, which does furniture, art, high-end knickknacks. And there's Interiors Consignment. Those are the three primary in the area. Sure, Consigned Furniture. They're in the Target Shopping Center.
In Reno, yep.
In Reno. There is Stellar Consignment, which is kind of by Action Camera, if you guys are familiar with that. Oh, that goes back to my husband, who knows where that is. And then Interiors Consignment, which is in one of the shopping centers. I want to say where Chihuahuas is, or is that farther down? In South Reno.
Do you have any names for people for buyouts?
The buyout teams that I have used, I'm hesitant to give them out because I don't know that they'd want me to. It's not something they do as a routine.
Can I just ask one more question? It kind of piggybacks onto that. If somebody is with you guys for like 18 months and you guys are helping them through the process of downsizing, decluttering, whatever, how does that work? Like, do you guys charge per visit that you see them? Is it like a monthly overall charge, or how does that work?
Great question.
So when we do the downsize, it's in conjunction with the sale of the house. So move management is included in the service. There isn't an extra charge for that. If we have somebody where there is no real estate involved and they're downsizing, let's say you're going from an apartment to an apartment, or they're giving their house to a family member, they're just not going to be selling the house. Then we go out and give an estimate for the job, and we usually take a retainer, and then we reduce, however many hours from that retainer, and then fill it back up if you need more hours. But we keep you posted because you're working within a budget. We don't want you to end up with this bill and like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that was going to happen. So we start off with a retainer, we reduce it from the retainer, and then we come back to you and say, okay, if you want more hours, this is how much it's going to be, type of thing.
Over this side. No more questions? Oh, over there. Thank you, Melissa.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, Kimberly, wasn't there a consignment store by Statewide Lighting as well? That the woman was a guest speaker at that workshop series you had on decluttering?
Chaos. So Chaos, yes, she does have her store now. It's Chaos Steals and Deals. Please contact her, though. She is also inundated with items. I can't even have her come out and look at my items. She has plenty. So that is the problem, and I don't want to say that it was caused by the pandemic, but for 3 years, we had nothing to do but sit at home and go through our stuff and get rid of our things that we didn't want. And it wasn't just you, it was everyone. So a lot of these places have now been inundated with all of these post-pandemic items.
But you're right, Debbie Cox has been on our panel numerous times in the past. She has a wonderful store. I'll give her a plug in Midtown. And if you want to add to your clutter, you need more stuff, go visit Debbie and she'll happily... You had something you want to say?
Debbie, she was doing estate sales, and we used her a lot for estate sales. And then because of the fact that estate sales, what I mentioned, is only for a short period of time, she realized that having a store would be better because then people can come and see it. So some of the items that she has at the store are items that did not sell at one of her estate sales, so she has it at the store to be able to sell it. Yeah.
Any other questions? One down here. Oh, over here. Thank you.
I have some information I want to share. Recently, I took a diamond ring from my previous marriage to a dealer, and I learned something I was totally unknown. It's a $6,000 to $8,000 diamond that they don't even want to buy anymore because the diamond market has fell about 50%, and people are buying lab-created diamonds like the one I have would only sell for $1,400. So I'm looking to sell it outright for somebody that wants the real thing. And even the gold, even though it was 18 karat and weighed blah, 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 was only like $300, and he could only give me 150, and he'd just throw the diamond away or put it in his. So I'm looking to sell it or give it away at this point. Just
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, stuff is just not worth what we think it is, unfortunately. Any other questions? Over here, Melissa. Oh, sorry,
Hey,
Bill.
I got some information on the computer stuff. So if you want to take your old computers to Reno Computer Fix, they'll take them.
Reno Computer Fix?
Yeah,
Where are they located, Billy?
It's on North Wells. So.
North Wells.
Yep.
Thank you. Reno Computer Fix?
Yes.
If you wanted to get rid of old computers, old technology. Just call them first, though, just to verify their hours and what they're taking. Yeah, so thank you, Billy.
I'll be done after this. I was just wondering if either one of you ladies had an idea of the little turned hangers deal. So you take the clothes off the hangers, right, and you wash them, but you don't really know that hanger is affiliated with that shirt. And so you see what I'm saying? Like if you turned it around.
Good question. I know where you're going with that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I guess I was thinking like they're all clean when you're hanging them. I mean, it's just what you have in your closet right now. You're just turning it all around.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Don't
I didn't think
overthink
about that
it.
correctly.
Don't overthink it.
Silly, yes. Okay, this is not as dumb of a question. How do people get info on your guys' community housing outings?
We announce them at the seminars,
Okay.
and typically in the emails that go out. So the next one we're going to do, I think, is in March next year.
No, it will be April of
April
next year.
year.
Yeah, so we're going to do things a little bit different, but so April next year is when we're going to be doing the community outings.
Yeah, so as long as you sign up and get our regular emails of upcoming seminars, there'll be information there about the community tours. Susie, we're doing a community tour again in April?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, and actually with the communities on our website, janellegroup.com, you can click on, I think it basically, there's a button to click on, and we have all the communities and all their contact information, and just like what Susie said, more than happy to give you a tour. So you can call any of them, and there's an interactive map on that website too, that because oftentimes people want to move to close to where they currently live. So on that map, you can figure out where your house is and then see all the communities that are nearby and then contact them directly and be able to get a tour.
And we have hard copies on our table outside, Senior Community Living Directory, that has all of the local communities listed and their information. Do we have another question, or are we done? Just over here, please, Melissa. Yep.
I have a question about wanting to sell coins. The lady was talking about diamonds and the value, how it's gone down. My husband has passed away, and he had a collection of coins. I don't know where to start with that. Anybody have any ideas on how about, getting it appraised?
Patty Thayheld is an appraiser for items, so Patty Thayheld. And so oftentimes when there's things like that, we'll have her come in and give an estimate of value. And she oftentimes has buyers for items like that too. And Nevada Coin, yeah, going to Nevada Coin as well.
Nevada Coin's the other one.
Patty is
T-H-
Thaheld.
So Google her, and if you can't find her, just give us a call and we'll give you her details.
Yeah, if you Google Patty Thayheld, she will come up.
Yep.
Does that lady also include stamp collections?
I would say it's worth giving her a call and talking to her about it. It's not across the board, but she is an appraiser, and she may have contacts. I haven't done a stamp collection, so I can't say for sure, but I would definitely give her a call.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if she didn't know someone who would be able to help.
I was just going to say that my husband died, and I have a hard time giving away things. He had an air compressor. We had a barbecue grill, lawnmower, until I did finally find someone that was young and divorced and moving into a home. But I think young people don't think like us. They don't want anything. And I didn't even want to sell it. I just wanted to give things away. And also, I have Beanie Babies. So is there, would you say the children's part of Renown Hospital or something?
Yeah, actually, I think that's a great idea for Beanie Babies, because there isn't a market for them anymore.
I had a lot of fun doing it 25 years ago before I moved here. A lot of friends did, but what do you do now? I have a big tub full of them. Brand new ones. I didn't play with them or anything.
Yeah.
Beanie Babies.
Yeah,
So,
Beanie
do you know
Babies.
about a children's place or?
Children's Hospital, contacting them and seeing if they would.
Children's cabinet.
Children's cabinet, yeah.
So someone said Washoe County Child Protective Services might be someone who would appreciate them.
Lions Club? Oh, Lioness Club. Yes.
So over here, Melissa, I see a hand. In the back row, Melissa. Thank you. Yeah. Any questions on this side? I think we'll just take this one last question.
I don't know if you guys, my husband and I both bought and sold through Lightning Auction. So for people who don't want to sell online, there's a buyer and a seller commission, but made money, got rid of things, both things that were my mother's, things that were ours. And so it's a very nice way, and they do take fine jewelry, costume jewelry. I sold some of my Navajo jewelry, bought, a mega watch there, and so there's some nice things, some also household items, so it was a nice way for family members who didn't want specific household items, nobody wants it, it's a nice way to sell too, and because it's local, it's very easy, you just put it in your pickup or car, whatever, make an appointment, obviously, and go down and sell whatever they don't sell, you can take back and donate.
I agree. Lightning Auction is a really good way to go. And if you have firearms, they will take firearms as well, because not everybody does. So Lightning Auction we have definitely used them. Yeah.
Yeah, and they've been on stage here before and talked about how they work. And for the lady who asked about paying someone, she might have left, paying someone to do the stuff online, that's kind of like using lightning auctions. They do all the work, take the photographs, put it up, run the auction to sell the items. They'll group things together and sell it as a batch. Yeah, they've got a neat service.
Yeah.
Do we have one more question over here, Susie?
Does anybody know how to hire somebody to help you lift all this stuff? Somebody safe? I mean, we're stuck with, my friend has 3 huge storage sheds because she lost her home. And she's destroyed mine with all her stuff. We need help.
What would some good resources be?
There are laborers that you can pay for, day laborers.
Would safety squads help with that at all, if it's already sorted and just needs to be
Safety
removed?
squads is an option, but do you need it moved also? Or just lifted? Both? I would actually contact some of the local smaller movers just for labor, because then they have all the equipment. I'll give you an example. I mean, movers, you can get 3 guys for $150 to $195 an hour, but they have all the equipment and they know what they're doing. The movers I use, they can pack and move a house in 3 hours. Yeah, but so that might be worth it because they have the equipment and they have the trucks.
And they're efficient, know what they're doing.
And they're efficient.
Any other hands? So I just want to thank you all so much for coming and learning today. If you could all just complete your yellow evaluation forms and turn those in. Yeah, and thank you for a round of applause to Kim and Annette. Yeah. We look forward to seeing you next month.